Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Automotive Therapist. I'm your host, Scott Bramford, and thank you for joining in. This podcast is designed to listen to your experiences with auto-related subjects from driving to owning and beyond. Stick around, The Automotive Therapist is next. Hey, everyone. This is Scott Bramford for The Automotive Therapist, and beautiful day here in White Plains, New York. Looking at a nice 85-degree sunny afternoon. And the topic for today that I wanted to discuss is people that are blessed with cars and sometimes not. And of course, what that's all about is cars that were either gifted to us or maybe we received them from a friend or something like that, family acquaintance, and so on and so forth. And then sometimes, we get cars that pretty good deals. And, I just think back into the archives of cars that I've had that, I paid very little for or maybe got for free. So I'm going to just give you my rundown. And I know everybody out there, I'm sure, has a car like this, especially if you're a car person or maybe even not. One car I can remember specifically was a 91 Chevy Beretta Indy Pace car replica. Now, it could have been a 92. So it's one of those 2 years. They came in yellow and teal, and mine was yellow. It's 75,000 miles. Needed an oil sending switch, but drove and ran fine. And it's kind of strange. It's sort of a car that really isn't very valuable, but I probably still wish I had it because it was different and kind of unique. Chevy Berettas were not a stellar product for General Motors, as we all know, along with the Corsicas and the cars of that time. But, front engine, front wheel drive, 3.1 V6, automatic trans. But cool car. And another car, I think a couple of cars in the same vein. I know my sister's boyfriend's father passed, and they had an 80 Chevy Malibu Classic, which was a 262 V8, and nobody wanted the car. And so it was kind of left to me to take, and was no problem. I took it. I drove that car for a couple of years. A little brown in the quarters, at the bottom of the quarter panels. But, I think actually probably for a few months I lived in that car. So I would go to various people's friends' houses and stuff and maybe crash overnight a couple of times. But fortunately, that wasn't a long duration of a situation. And then let's see some other really kind of nice cars that I drove and maybe it wasn't gifted to me, but I had a 1970 Pontiac Grand Prix. This was a family car, but I was just about of age. I think I was at 16 years old, 1970. And that was such a cool car, long nose, one of those personal cars that General Motors made. I can't remember what's the body number on that. Don't remember, but same as Monte Carlo or Regal or those cars of that nature. And it was really great. I mean, it just used an inordinate amount of gas. And we can probably talk about that in context with cars that were gifted to us in some way, shape, or form. But I don't know. I drove that car out to Long Island once, and I was 16 years old in a snowstorm. We had a nor'easter, and I was going to school in a place called Lake Grove, New York, which is near Smithtown, Suffolk County. If people are familiar with that area of the country. But, what a neat thing to be able to drive. It was brand new. My dad bought it for $4,500. It wasn't an SJ. It was just a regular Model J. So it was a 400, not a 455. I think it probably consumed the same amount of gas, though. And at the same time, we had a 1970 Fiat 124 Spider. And people are going to listen to this episode here and probably laugh about some of these cars. But, at the time, that was a pretty cool car. And I think, the nuance or the cachet with that particular car is that it was a Pininfarina body car, style car. I worked for a dealer that, had those cars and for a while, but it was just a remembrance thing, with that particular car. It was pretty neat. I drove that car all over the place. Most notably, a friend of mine and I, we took that car up to Cape Cod, Race Point, on the beach up there, and Provincetown. And at the time, Provincetown was, a place where you could just go out and hang out on the beach in 1970. So it was a pretty neat experience. Some other cars. It was pretty close to being gifted. At a 1968 Buick Skylark Custom Convertible. What a nice car. I kind of wish I still had that car. It belonged to my father's girlfriend. It had about 60,000 miles on it. I paid $400 for that car. Drove it for a few years, really enjoyed it. And it was parked in Mount Vernon on the street. A guy and his girlfriend had a fight one night, and some kind of way it got out of hand. He or she pushed the gas pedal, and my car was sitting on the corner, and an unfortunate recipient of a head-on collision. So probably could have fixed it, but it just got a little too involved to do that. But the list goes on, the cars go on. What I'd like to do is, if people listen to these episodes, which I hope they do, like and subscribe. That's important. But in the comment section, comment about some of the cars that you've had, some that have been gifted, or some cars maybe that you found and, brought back to life. Cars that you got some really good deals on. I'm sure everybody has a really good story about a car like that. So, again, please listen to us. Really appreciate the support. We're going to get better. We're going to bring, new material in, and eventually what we're going to do is just have people kind of join the podcast remotely, and, tell their experiences about the themes that we have and the episodes we have. So have a great day, great rest of the summer. Enjoy. And this is Scott Branford for the Automotive Therapist. We'll speak again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.